So my next question is that how does the SUPP advocates for greater autonomy for Sarawak?
All right, this is another big question, depending on how long you want to hear. MA 63 was a very important document, very simple document, short one, but then it is linked with another few documents. Offhand, I've forgotten already. But anyway, the important thing is that there were few documents. Maybe I try my best. I was caught here now. It started off with, of course, 1946, where Charles Weiner Brooke, the last Brooke, left us with a legacy to be independent and so on. But that time the Japanese came in, so Sarawak people was left with an empty promise. So when the governors came in, different governors come in since 1946 up to 63, there were no self-government given. Until 1963, the self-government was given to Governing Gan, who was the first Chief Minister of Sarawak. Okay. So then in 1959, Tunku Rahman had an idea of getting Malaysian born, meaning to say Sarawak, Sabah, Indonesia, Brunei, as well as Malaysia and Singapore, 5 entities they want to put together. So all the 5 got together, talked together in different conferences, different collaborative conferences all over, in Singapore, in Malaya, in Brunei, in Sarawak, in Sabah, okay, and in Malaya, of course. At the end, they come to a conclusion. There's a very elaborative, including the UN, and before that is the Covert Commission. Is it offhand? I can't remember. Or Covert Commission, 1962, and so an intergovernmental document, intergovernmental conference is another one. Following the Covert Commission, there is an internal. This is the basic one. Intergovernmental, offhand, I can't remember. It's okay. So after that, you have the MA 63. So there are different stages leading to MA 63, right? Malaysian agreement. So agreement, of course, signed in West Malaysia, in England, okay, England, and becomes an international document, lodged in United Nations. Okay, that's it. The dust settled. All right. So now, how we see the whole thing is that in Malaysian agreement, there is this Article 8. I have to recall now. Article 8 state that all the states, like Sarawak in particular, we have our own autonomy, right? So that autonomy is translated in the state list in our first federal Malaysian constitution, still there, and there is also this concurrent list in the federal constitution, which is still going on, right? But a lot of amendments are done, which Sarawak is going to fight back. Okay, there's MA 63. So the spirit of Article 8 is such that anything that is not done should be followed up by all the political leaders in Sarawak as well as Malaysia in good faith. All right, because at that time it was just a sign and it was quite a rush. There's no doubt about it. But then on the other hand, we are supposed to rectify it, change it further, bring it up together and change it for the better according to state list, concurrent list, etc. Right? And also the intergovernmental document that as I mentioned, as well as the Covert Commission, that document, and there within whatever is there should be honoured, understood and honoured and accepted by the people. Alright? these are all elaborated, highly elaborated, and then over tables, over seminar, over conferences by all the leaders in general throughout. Many people don't know about that. I have a lot. We can do it separately if you want.
Yeah.
MA 68, then I will get all the documents from you.
But just one point about MA 63 is that Sabah and Sarawak both signed MA 63. Singapore also signed. But now we look at Sabah and Sarawak. Sarawak has more autonomy compared to Sabah. Sabah, if you look at Sabah, it seems that Sabah has actually surrendered a lot of their rights to West Malaysia. But in Sarawak, it seems that Sarawak, there's this culture of defending your rights against West Malaysia and asserting a certain autonomy and the true spirit of MA 63. But in Sabah, this is not the case. So could you explain that? Or do you think my observation is right?
I think your observation has room for further thoughts. I wouldn't say wrong. Sarawak, of course, as you know, is different from Sabah. Brunei opted out from the MA 63 for their own reasons as well, right? And also political change at that time. You know, Azahari and so on, that Brunei revolt. But that is beyond the question. Sabah has a different scenario. Sabah, for example, the scenario is that there is no communist threat, okay, and they were under a bit of threats from Philippines. That's another story. Sarawak is quite different. So you have got to see things differently under a Malaysian agreement. So how they concede or fight for the right is actually quite different from Sarawak. But there are similarities. I wouldn't deny that. But the question that you asked on Sarawak autonomies and how we successfully fight, it was a struggle as well, because actually we are constitutional monarchies, number one, and we are also democratic parliamentary democracies. So these two strands already tells us very clearly that the parliament will have a final say in federal constitution. MA 63 has a lot to do with federal constitutions, right? In Sarawak autonomy, we have our rights according to MA 63 and Intergovernmental and Corporate Commission, all these two documents, plus other conventions as well, other ways of doing things in Sarawak, as well as Malaya, as well as Malaysia, British government. They have their way, they follow, and further is the United Nations have their way. So Sarawak is now faced with this thing, continuous challenge to improve, to have a greater autonomy. So in other words, we are still not happy. It's rightfully ours. We will fight back. Sarawak, right? I think the same thing for Brunei. Sabah. And other states in West Malaysia. But like Kelantan, for example, they want the rights. Same thing for us. So it is a family, collaboration and as well as proportionality in terms of resources. We want to develop together as one. So our current government, for example, Abang Jo, was very independent. We fight our ways. At the same time, we fight for our rights, autonomies, in the spirit of Adnan Syed, who actually started the whole movement of asking for greater autonomy at that time, Adnan Syed. So Abang Jo inherited. Now the current government, including all the GPS members, inherited that heritage to have greater autonomy. But at the same time, personally I feel that our government is very much safe, but they have very a lot of resources. They build it on their own. They have to be creative, working with countries like Germany, Singapore, all right, not just maybe Malaya, or federal. We have to be independent. I think that's a wonderful thing in Sarawak. So we can see that MA 63, Article 8 is the key to greater autonomy. You fight judiciary, to go to assemblies, assemblies, as well as through executive, to your politician, federal and state. They must talk, they must negotiate, they must come to something for the good of Sarawak and Malaysia as a whole. Legally, of course, through our assembly, we must do our part. The assemblyman must say something out, including the parliamentary in KL. We must say something out for the good of Sarawak as well as Malaysia to honor Malaysian agreement. And the other thing is through executive, judiciary, as well as the other one is what?
The executive, judiciary, and the legislature.
Legislative is more on
Assembly.
assemblies. Judiciary is through the, as you know, these three means. And Article 8 added on is two other means as well. The aim is the same, is to achieve greater autonomy, is to achieve and honor the full prospects as well as the substance of Malaysian agreement. Okay?
Yeah, so the last question, you have written a lot about it,